Thank you, Chair. Premier, in July 2014, your then Environment Minister said, when it comes to clean energy, we can be Australia's answer to California. That was Rob Stokes, whose career I think I've just wrecked.
Just say you like him. Come on, John.
Your submission to the federal government's review of the renewable energy target in May 2014, I think you were freshly the Premier at this point, starts with the words, the New South Wales government is committed to a secure, affordable and renewable energy future for New South Wales. Can you explain to me what you're doing in light of those comments, which of course are entirely supportable? In light of those comments, what are you doing to address the loss of 8,000 gigawatt hours a year from the renewable energy target, which is likely to strip out about 2,600 gigawatt hours of renewable energy in New South Wales?
Well, I mean, firstly, we're doing, what we can, and you're right. I mean, the direction. I mean, we support renewable energy. We've been clear on that, but we're doing it in a way that's in taxpayers' interests and trying to provide the frameworks to encourage it. I mean, and there's also a specific leadership position on this. So our energy efficiency program across our properties in particular has delivered significant benefits. So
5,456 megawatts of renewable energy seeking approval at the moment. A very low rate of approval of renewable energy projects, particularly in the wind industry. Mm-hmm. What are you doing about that, Premier?
Well, the Planning Minister is considering this at the moment. There's. I do understand that there is a backlog, but I mean, as you know, particularly out in Western New South Wales in relation to solar, I mean, there's been a number of positive programs that have been approved and underway. But across the planning system, there are some backlogs, but it is something that the Planning Minister is currently considering.
27,771 jobs, direct jobs, and another 63,727, according to the Clean Energy Council, waiting for approval from this government. Do you think you're moving too slowly?
Well, I don't think I'm going to agree with those statistics without having seen the analysis myself. But I do understand that there are a number of projects that provide a number of opportunities, and that's part of the establishment of Jobs for New South Wales, which you might have seen us bring forward recently.
But Premier, you still have. Sorry, I beg your pardon.
No. So as part of that challenge is to grow. What are our competitive advantages? So we've got a range of funds that we've basically handed out on a reactive basis. We want to be much more proactive. What are our competitive advantages? How do we maintain them? And where are the new jobs? And how do we support those sectors and those industries? And look, I mean, I would happily include renewable energy as part of that, which is something that Jobs for New South Wales can consider as part of their overall approach. And because obviously technology companies is front and centre, fintech, which is associated with that, obviously maintains our competitive advantage, but takes together the new direction of the industry in terms of technology, and obviously renewable energy is part of that. So,
but Premier, you would accept that the federal government, your federal colleagues, are deeply hostile to renewable energy. They've just slashed the renewable energy target. The federal treasurer talks about a wind farm as being offensive. There is a whole raft of insecurity coming out of the federal government that is making it much more difficult to bank large-scale, particularly wind projects in New South Wales. I'm asking you specifically, do you have any plans to restore confidence to the wind industry, and particularly to the financing of wind industry? And do you have any plans to compensate for the loss of the 8,000 gigawatt hours of renewable energy target?
Well, I mean, firstly, I think the federal government has actually outlined a target, and they've got a plan to address that. Now you can disagree with their plan, but they're taking emissions in particular with seriousness, and obviously you can disagree with the plan.
No, we're talking about. Sorry, Premier, to be clear, I'm not talking about emissions. I'm talking about renewable energy.
Yeah.
It's just not as well as the previous.
I'm talking specifically about the future of the renewable energy industry in New South Wales.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
direct action will do nothing for wind energy in New South Wales.
well,
How about you just let him answer the question? You're cutting him off.
Well, how about you let him answer the question?
yeah, but the point is, in terms of renewable energy, there's what provides the overall framework where you have a target, and there's now kind of bipartisan position in relation to that target. Now, there's different approaches on how do you achieve it on both sides of politics, but you've got to give credit to the federal government. They've agreed, with the federal opposition.
Still don't agree with climate change.
Well, but they've agreed a mandatory target. So coming back specifically on the wind issue, yet that the planning minister is currently considering that.
So are you prepared just to sit back and let whatever comes out of Canberra happen to the renewable energy industry in New South Wales? Is that what you're saying to us?
Well, I mean, if you look at the approach internationally, I mean, the best way is to do it on a national basis. I mean, that
would be true if we had a federal government that wasn't hostile specifically to wind technology, to the most cost-effective renewable energy technology, and has set out to sabotage it. That would be true if we didn't have a 2-year review of the renewable energy target.
I'll take the point at this stage.
Mr.
Again, you're getting into speeches, John, not actually asking questions. It's
Thanks for that advice, Trev.
well, it's actually.
I don't think you really meant that.
Do you accept that the hostile environment requires specific action in New South Wales?
Well, no. I mean, I think the hostile.
Still get renewable energy certificates.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry?
So, I mean, wind farms will still get renewable energy certificates under the RET, which is the primary financial assistance to wind farms in the system.
Mr. Comley, you're seriously telling me that it won't hurt to reduce demand? The price won't be affected by reducing demand? I thought you were an economist.
We could have a long debate about climate economics if you wanted to.
I'm not talking about climate economics. you people keep taking the climate. I'm talking about a really specific industry in New South Wales. You've just told me, it doesn't matter if you reduce the demand for the product.
I didn't say that at all.
Well, you say that you can
still... So the
still...
renewable energy target is increasing the demand for wind farms from the current level. It's not increased by as much as the previous target of 41,000 gigawatt hours, but has still increased demand from the current level, which will support the financial viability of those farms.
The existing farms.
And the new farms, because there is not enough renewable energy to meet the target.
And that's exactly what the planning minister is considering.
Well, let's talk about the planning minister for a minute. He's in charge of the draft, what are still draft wind energy guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to remain in place? That his predecessor referred to them as the most stringent noise guidelines in the world. Is that what we're going to keep here in New South Wales?
Well, the planning minister is considering that as part of his remit.
So there might be some relief, at least from those guidelines.
Well, I'm not going to announce anything here, John, but the good news is he is considering those.
So so far you've given nothing to the argument that there is a significant challenge facing the wind industry in New South Wales. Is there at least in principle a commitment from the New South Wales government to do something to help the wind industry in New South Wales to survive what is now a very difficult time?
Look, for the sake of repeating myself, we are very supportive of renewable energy, and I think I've shown that. No, I'll finish, John. And I do understand some of the concerns in the wind industry, and that is being considered as we speak by the planning minister.
I'm supportive of the Sydney Swans, but that isn't going to do them any good. There needs to be, and where you've got, do you accept that where you have hostility from the National Treasurer to the technology and hostility from the Prime Minister to the technology, it's going to make it harder for new projects to get banking?
Well, no, there is an agreed renewable energy target, as the Secretary just outlined, that by its nature will increase demand. We've got an opportunity within that framework, and I think there should be a national framework. That's the point.
Which is reviewed in 2 years' time.
We have a national framework, now have an opportunity to consider that, and that's exactly what the planning minister is doing.
Can I go back briefly?